So my business failed this year. I know that's kind of a really intense and dramatic thing to start out with. Talking about a recap of 2025 for me as a entrepreneur, as an artist, slash business owner. I'm just doing some bookkeeping, some numbers, and just looking at how things actually played out, because it's hard to know if you're not keeping up with it throughout the year exactly how you're doing. But of course, you get the feeling. You don't break even at shows. You don't make sales online. You're not meeting those goals that you set for yourself. You can kind of get the feel of like where exactly you stand on things. But I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about exactly my thoughts on 2025 and how I ended up failing, and how my business cost me way more than it made me, and impacted me negatively in my real life as far as like my job, money that I could have made, because I took off so much time. For some of these shows, 3-day shows, I would leave work, instead of making actual guaranteed money. I was taking a risk on myself, and it didn't really play out for me this year. So, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Trey. I go by J9 or J9's Arts. So you can find me on any social media platform with J9SART, sometimes S, added to the end. I am an illustrator, artist, business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it. I started my business last year in July with my first convention in August of last year, 2024. Since then, I've been doing shows periodically. So this year, I want to recap the entire calendar year, pros and cons, ins and outs, and how the books look and how things came out for me in a business standpoint and a mental standpoint for myself as an artist. And then I want to talk about goals that I have for myself for next year. So first off, full recap of the year. Full disclaimer, I had a really rough year. It was really rough for me. Just kind of coming to the realization of how difficult it is to become an artist, or a full-time artist, even a part-time artist, and actually make money from my artwork. I started this in 2024 in July, and the reason I started is because I've always loved drawing. I've always loved creating and making things with my hands, illustrations, just portraits of families and friends, and anime has been a big inspiration to me, so I always did fan art growing up. And one of my best friends, who has accompanied me on some of my shows, came up to me and he was like, "Hey, me and you, we love going to these shows. We love going to conventions. We love cosplaying. We love going to the panels, going to the cosplay contests. Why don't you start vending at one of these places? It'd be cool to get yourself out of there, And I pushed it off. I didn't think anything about it. It was far-fetched for me, and I didn't think I could see myself doing it just because of the caliber of the artists that were at these shows. Could I stand beside them? And I don't know. Something happened in that time frame, because he talked to me about that in 2023, December 2023. We had this conversation, and in February 2024, I created my LLC after talking to a bunch of my TikTok art friends that I met starting in 2023. So you have Willis, Sue, Grace Sama. All of them were like inspiring me, along with my best friend, to kind of step out of my comfort zone and become what I know that I would really love to be, which is an artist, is someone who create and make things off my art. One second, let me turn my TV down. Okay. Now, so they were in a sense pushing me in a direction that I wanted to go in, but I was super afraid to venture into. I didn't know anything about it. I hadn't even printed my art on paper before, so it was super scary, and I didn't really believe in myself, to be honest. And even to this day, I still struggle with believing in myself and believing in my artwork. 2024, February-ish, I started my LLC. J9 Arts LLC, and I just left it there. I left it there. It was just there for me to have, and then I eventually started applying for shows. Got into my first show, and that was my very first show of all time. Now, I'm a procrastinator, and that's terrible for a businessman, and I've been learning a lot of things. 2024, I procrastinated until like a month and a half before the show, and I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna procrastinate. I'm gonna wait a month and a half, and then I'm gonna order everything, and it's all gonna be perfect, and I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna love it, and then I'm gonna go to the show, and then I'm gonna sell my art, and it's gonna be fantastic. And that's what I thought was gonna happen. That's what I envisioned happening. But because I did not know specifics, details about when you go to print something, the format that it's in matters quite a bit. The pixels that you use, the DPI that you use, all that really matters. And the fact that images that you see on screen are gonna be darker when you print them. Yeah, all this horrified me because I got my prints 3 weeks before the show. They came in 3 weeks before the show in 2 big boxes. I was happy. I mass printed. I printed like 10 of each thing. Oh my God, it was like 30 illustrations. And half of them were wrong, half of them were dark, half of them were formatted terribly, stretched. It was sad. I was super depressed about it. And but because I didn't have time, I did not have any time. I had 3 weeks before the show, so I literally I ran to my friends, I ran to my TikTok friends, my artist friends, and I was like, what is happening, what's going on? And they're like, oh, you didn't know this is what happens? And I'm like, oh no, I didn't know. I didn't do the research before I print it. And that's my fault. That's 100% my fault. I just naive. And so I rushed, tried to fix everything, brighten things up, sent a print order out, and the prints thankfully came back a week before the show. And they came back better, not 100%, but they were better. Now, everything was good. I got my stand, I got my prints, and I got everything ready. So my bags are packed, my tickets there for the flight. My best friend is already at the show, or at the convention, or the hotel that I booked for us a day before the convention, and I was on the way there that same day before the convention. Everything's perfect. I got to the airport on time. I got through the gate with no problems. I'm at the gate, and then the Microsoft crash happened. 2024, I was stuck at the airport. I was at the airport for like 10 hours. The plane was supposed to leave at 9. It ended up leaving at 7 a.m. It was supposed to leave at 9 p.m. and get me to Columbus, Ohio at 12 o'clock in the morning. It left at 7 a.m. and got me to Columbus, Ohio at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the show started at 2. Now, you're thinking 4 hours is plenty of time, right? It should be. Only problem is half of my luggage didn't make it. Half of my luggage was on the plane. Well, honestly, all the luggage that I checked was on the plane that never made it to Columbus, Ohio. That baggage got delayed, and so I didn't get that baggage until 24 hours after I made it to Columbus. So, okay, this is important. This is the very first show that I've ever done. This is the very first time that I am stepping out of my comfort zone. This is the very first time that I'm trying to believe in myself and put myself in a place of vulnerability and trying to join the ranks of my fellow artists. Everything went wrong, bro. Like, when I say the prints, they went wrong. The traveling went wrong. My bags didn't get there in time. Everything went wrong. We sat at the booth with my prints just all over the table, and that's how we sold them. Luckily, I brought all my prints as a carry-on in a heavy duffel bag. I had to carry this duffel bag that was like 70 pounds. Should not have made it through, by the way. It was huge, and I packed it in, saran wrapped it, and then put it in my duffel bag, and then just shoved it on the carry-on. And that's what I had. I had that in my backpack, which had my square and my cash bag, which I took out some cash and just put it in there for sales. And so, yeah, I was only selling at that time 11 by 17s, no other variety, no other options. That show was horrendous. I even got stuck getting back home. The flight that I had leaving Ohio got delayed. overnight. I missed a full day of work, and I didn't get back home until Tuesday. I left Ohio Sunday at like 8:30, and I got back home at Tuesday at 4 in the morning after driving. I had to drive from, I got stuck in Atlanta for a full day, and then I jumped on a plane to Alabama, which is a little bit closer to Texas. I drove from Alabama all the way to Dallas, and then I had to go get my car because, of course, my car's at the airport, so I had to go to the airport, had to drop the other car off, get my car, and then drive back home. So it was 3 o'clock in the morning when I got there, and I had to work the next day at 8 o'clock. Yeah, so that's the tone that I want you guys to keep in mind. With the very first experience of mine, I wanted to quit right at the gate. I did not want to continue doing this. It was horrendous, terrifying, stressful. I was super sad the whole time. Like, man, I can't tell you, I cannot explain or express just how bad I felt. But I kept going. And the rest of the year, things got better. I missed less. I didn't miss any more flights. I wasn't having any more struggles as far as that goes. But things still happened. I still ended up in the red. I still ended up in the negatives. I didn't make money. I was stressed and really sad. So yeah, that's the majority of it. I opened up a store at the end of the year. I started making sales on that. That was cool. I was like so happy to wake up to an order every now and then. That, like, passive income, right? That was fantastic. I think that year I ended up just barely in the red. So like maybe a couple $100, because I wasn't really going to many shows. I went to like 5 shows that year because I started at the end of the year. So I started in July, so I only had like 5 or 6 months to play around with shows. But yeah, so here's the full year and a good assessment of how I did. Last year was not fair. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I was blindsided a lot. A lot of crazy stuff happened. Yeah. Full recap of 2025. Here we go. Sorry for the filler at the beginning. I had to get that across. I want you guys to relate to me and understand where I come from. So, 2025. First thing, number of shows that I attended. I attended 11 shows. So I doubled the number of shows. I mean, it makes sense. So I started mid-year last year, did 5. Started the full year this year, did 11. So a little bit over double. All of those shows except for 2 shows were relatively small. I would say a couple of them were on a medium-sized level, and then the last 2 were pretty big as far as like attendance goes, for at least the Saturday show. My very first show was in Chattanooga. I did not have a good time there because of how terrible I did as far as sales go, and how slow it was. It was not packed at all. Did not do great at all. I met some really cool people. Every single show, I get blessed to vend next to amazing people who are kind enough to talk to me and hang out with me a little bit. But like, my booth neighbors are always so busy because they're so good at what they do that I'm sitting next to veterans constantly trying to take notes, but they are busier than me for sure, so not a lot of time to talk. Did Chattanooga. I went to my hometown, Memphis, Tennessee, and I did a show there. That was what blew up on YouTube because I started doing vlogs around that time. I think I did a vlog in GaziCon Columbus in 2024, but I stopped vlogging because I didn't really have anything to vlog. And then I vlogged the MegaCon vlog in Memphis, and you guys really showed up and showed love, and I really appreciate that. That's really what motivated me to keep doing the vlogs, because I wanted to have something that was working for me at that point in time. And I genuinely enjoyed like just filming the process and the struggles of being an artist in Artist Alley. I had a couple other shows that summer. So I had PopCon Indie. I went a whole day, made 0 sales. A whole day. Friday, I did not sell anything. Now, tear up a little bit, but I did not sell anything that Friday. And then I did Anime Market, which I actually profited in that show pretty well, but I didn't like it because of how badly marketed the show. It was a market, but it wasn't marketed well, if that makes sense. Like, there was a total of maybe 200 people that showed up to the whole show, and it was a 2-day show. So yeah, a lot of us did not do well. I got blessed, and I guess it was the position I was in that I ended up making my table and everything back, and I felt, you know, I was supported. Thank you guys. Other shows that I did over the summer, Animeverse back in Chattanooga, a better show, arguably. I enjoyed it a lot more because they had the entire convention in one spot, and I could see the panels and the cosplay contest, so that was cool. Then I did Anime Orlando. Terrible for me. I did not do well, but like I said, my neighbors did amazing. Then I ended up going to a couple local shows here in Dallas, both of them from the same company, which I'm not really going to talk too much about who they were and what they are, because they do represent something that is amazing, supporting disabled people, and bringing people together who all like the same thing. So I don't want to talk bad on anybody, especially when they're trying to do something good for the community and people who are less fortunate, especially. So I enjoyed being in those two shows. I did both of them because I did like the people so much, but I did not make, like, the table cost was like $170, and I might have made $200 the whole weekend, maybe. And I think the second time I did it, I might have made less. So yeah, not doing those again, but that's because I'm valuing my time more, and that's a whole another conversation. I ended the year with GalaxyCon Columbus again. Last year was my best show, so I had to go back. Very traumatic because I was freezing my butt off the whole time. I'm still surprised how I didn't get pneumonia or the flu or anything, but it was so cold. It was, I want to say 14 degrees outside, and somewhere in the convention center at the back where I was, there was a door open, I'm sure of it, and I could just feel the gates of Dante's Inferno just kind of coming in on me. Yeah, and then Anime 405, which another really good show. I just did not like that they allowed AI. So that's kind of like a little run of some of the shows that I did. Of course, I didn't mention all of them. Some shows I got into I wasn't able to attend because of family events, trips that I had planned and committed myself to prior, or birthdays. So yeah, I would have got into more shows, but at the same time, when I was in that place of deciding, do I go to the show or do I go to my family event, I'd already been pretty burnt out and pretty sad about my progress thus far as an artist and as a vendor, that I was okay to pass up on the show. And I even sold one of my vending spots to a friend who took over, and they killed it. So I'm blessed to have a full-time job that supports me fully, and allows me to do things like invest in things like my business and chase my dreams. So thank you to myself and to the universe and to God himself in getting a job that allows me a little bit of flexibility. A lot of people have wondered, like, why don't I just make it a hobby? Why don't I just work on my full-time job? And I've even considered the same thing after I've started selling, because to be honest, when you make art as your second income, or as an income, because art is one of my sources of income now, mainly selling at Artist Alley, but also selling online, it gets really draining, and you find yourself making sacrifices of yourself to try and make a profit or try to make a sale. Artist Alley is the primary source of income for me. Most of them were small shows, and I did not break even for half of them. So after doing all the numbers and crunching things down, I made $7,400. I also have an affiliate program with Amazon where I make tiny little commissions on things that I sell or link to my storefront, but that's, I think, pretty negligible to like what I've made at the cons, and that was around $95 this year. So not like a super lot of money coming from the Amazon affiliate link. It's just like side cash that, I mean, it helps. I use Shopify for my primary source of online sales, or for my medium for online sales, and it is pretty pricey, guys. If you don't have sales coming in, it racks up pretty fast. I don't really make much on my store. In fact, my store has been down for the last 6 months because I don't make any sales on it. and it just siphons. This year I made absolutely $0 online. Like I want to say $300 last year when I started selling online, but because I'm terrible at marketing my art and because I'm terrible at like marketing in general, I wasn't getting those posts out there, and people weren't really seeing my sales or anything, and so I wasn't making any money. So yeah, $0 on Shopify last year or this year. But again, I take full responsibility for it. It's no one's fault but my own. So yeah, around $7,500 in sales and money made this year. My business expenses, when you're doing Artist Alley, when you're an artist in general, there are a lot of upfront costs that you don't really realize until those invoices are hitting your inbox. For one, it costs quite a bit to print art. If you're printing a lot of it, like I said, I was mass printing art, and it would be like $150 a shipment if I'm getting, because I have a lot of prints. I have like 40 illustrations, so it depends. As I've gotten better at deciding what sells and what doesn't sell, I've ordered less prints, and I have prioritized the top sellers over the ones that don't move at all. And honestly, like, keeping inventory saves your life. You know how much you have, and you don't have to order so much of anything unless it's running low. So bookkeeping is important. Keeping inventory tabs is important. That way you don't waste money. I made a big mistake first year in. So some of these prints that I have, I didn't even order this year. Some of them are from last year that I just haven't sold. Like a lot of them that I have designed and illustrated and printed, I printed last year in bulk, and I printed like 12 of them, and I just can't sell them. So right now I have quite a few prints from back then. This year I've done an amazing job, in my opinion, on dialing back on the quantity of the prints to ensure high quality, and then ramping it up slowly so that I'm not wasting too much money on prints that don't move, and making sure that I'm ordering them when they reach a certain point, not over ordering prints that aren't guaranteed to make sales on. Close to $500 in new prints. That's how much it cost me for a full year, which, I mean, if I was selling as well as some of these other artists, that would be super low, because they're obviously ordering more prints because they're selling more prints. I once heard someone talking about a convention, and they're like, yeah, I just bring like 100 of these because I sell like 50 of them at a weekend. And I'm like, I struggle to make 50 sales in a weekend, dude. So I can't even imagine. I can't imagine being in that place. I would love to be there one day, but I got a lot of growth to go through. Hopefully I'm done taking L's for a little while, but we'll see. Other things that I started to invest in this year were new products. So stickers and gaming pads. Gaming pads were probably the most costly. They're relatively heavy. I think they cost like $20 a mat. So I had like somewhere close to 20 of them sent to me over the year. I took the number down. The total number for them was about $440 for my gaming mats. Pretty expensive, just for the fact that I had so little of them printed. I love the quality. I love how they came out, and they did sell. So I will continue printing them and manufacturing them, or getting them manufactured to me. But I have to figure out how to make it as cost efficient as possible, and also how to store and carry them, because they can be kind of heavy. They pack on weight fast. I made investments into my business as well this year. So you have the prints were about $500 total. Then you have the gaming mats, which were $440. And then I spent like $460 on a Cricut this year. So my Cricut back there, which I love, I bought the bundle, Maker 4. And then I got sticker paper and laminations. So the sticker paper and laminations together ran me another $60. So over $500 for all of that together. But I've been using them since August, so I feel like they might have made their money back, I guess. I mean, stickers are selling now that I'm getting better at them. If you guys saw my first video, you saw that I just had no idea how to use it at Cricut, and I ended up having a hand cut, but now I know how to use it, and it's a lot more efficient. But yeah, I think major expenses as far as products go, my desk mats, my art, my stickers were well over around $1,500, and investments. So yeah, that was for the year. $270 spent on Shopify. Don't open the shop just because people are asking you if you have an online store. Open it if you truly want to devote the time and commitment to having an online store, because it's a lot of work. It is so much work to update, especially if you're like me and you're always drawing. I'm drawing all the time. I wish I was drawing right now. 9 times out of 10, they're not actually interested in buying art from you. They just want to have a reason to not buy art from you now without being rude. So just full disclaimer, I have never had someone who approached me about an online store at a convention, turn around a couple days later or a week later and buy a print from me randomly on the internet because they remembered that saw me at a convention and they wanted to spend money on an art piece. Then my major costs come from the anime conventions and artist alleys. This stuff, writing it down, looking at all the numbers was really sad, but anime conventions cost, I went through the actual shows I did. So the 11 shows, out of the 11 shows, the total cost for the tables altogether, just the tables, was $3,000. $3,000 for the tables. Out of the 11 tables, I spent $3K. Yeah, and then you throw in car and hotel and flights. So thankfully I didn't have to fly to a lot of these shows. I only flew to 2. The one that was in Florida and the one that was in Ohio, just because they're like 13 hours away from me. So that saved a lot on cost, but I drove to most of them if I had to, or if I could. And still, the cost was around $3,400 for me total for all of these shows. Mind you, some of these shows I didn't even have to spend anything at, because some of them were local to me. 2 of them were local to me in Dallas, and 1 was local to me while I was living in St. Louis. And the other, I stayed at my parents' house because it was in Memphis, and so I only rented a car because my car is super old. So with all that being said, like, I still spent a lot of money on these shows. So altogether, I think I came out to like $8,500. $8,500 was my total expenses for this year as an artist. So yeah, almost $10,000 is how much it cost me. So $1,000 in the red. So is there anything that I could do to improve? What are my goals? How do I go from a crippling, failing business to something that is thriving and something that I can use to actually grow income with? Yeah, that's gonna be the big dilemma for me next year. I don't expect it to be a drastic change from this to full-time by next year. That to me seems like a really far-fetched goal. Now, it's possible, but not with the amount of effort that I've put in, not with the effort that I'm putting in right now, for sure. All I can do is set tangible goals for myself. And I'm not gonna focus on the numbers because that's gonna make me depressed. And we don't like depressed, we like neutral or happy, right? Yeah, so I'm gonna make a couple goals for myself. And you guys can stick around to hear me ramble about it if you want to. Otherwise, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Now, goals for myself 2026. Things that I can easily measure, record, and keep track of are, I would love to start making original content. And I want to draw an original character, design, or sketch a month. And it doesn't have to be a full illustrated piece, but I want to start creating something that is mine and mine alone. And that I feel like is doable, to sit down one day of the month and put time into creating, sketching, or fully illustrating something that is original to me. And original is something that I want to create in the future. This, I feel like, will help me grow as an artist and also help me to keep from burning out, right? Because I'm spending time on something that is 100% mine at this point. If it's an OC, then I'm not doing it because I think someone's gonna love it or like it. It's because I want to love it and like it. So one OC, sketch, drawing, illustration, anything a month. And I think that is doable. And I will keep in track of this by posting it on Instagram. And that kind of goes into my second goal. Second goal is being more consistent on social media pages, such as YouTube. YouTube long form content. I love the community here so much. You guys are super supportive, and I don't think I've found anything like you guys outside of TikTok. TikTok's pretty supportive in the artist community too. And so you guys go hand in hand there. I want to be able to post at least one video a month on YouTube. And I know that should be that should be easy enough for me too. But since I'm not gonna be doing shows as consistently, I don't know what I'm gonna post about. So I hope I can find something to give some sort of quality and worth to you guys. I'll do my best. And so, being more consistent, how do we calculate that? I want to post once a week on Instagram, once a week on TikTok, and the form of short form content, right? So once a week on short form. I do repost quite a bit, and I like doing reposts because I feel like a lot of people haven't seen these videos that I made. So I do repost pretty often, but I want to create a video once a week and just post it, right? So easy enough. Long form content once a month, right? Something that I can really put time into to make sure that it's quality and it has a purpose and a meaning to you guys. So yeah, just being more consistent with you all, being more consistent with my my platforms. And then that goes into my other goal. See, they all kind of work together. But marketing. So I am going to reopen my store in 2026, and I am going to market my butt off because it's a shame, and it's pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Disappointing, I guess, that I did not make a sale online at all last year. That is crazy. So like nothing. And so yes, I'm not focusing on the sales, but marketing wise, I want to do non-advertising posts. So we do one regular post on Instagram and Facebook or TikTok a week, but one advertising post once my store is open a week, at least just one. That's all I need. So 4 posts a month to market, 4 posts a month to just express myself, creativity, and 1 post a month for long form content. I can do that. I know I can. That should be doable. All right. And I hope I'm not setting myself up for failure. It sounds doable right now. It might not be doable in the future. We'll see. You guys keep me accountable. Okay. And so those are major goals for me. And as you would be surprised, none of my goals revolve around Artist Alley, because I don't want to do Artist Alley as intensely as I did like this year. I might go half of the conventions that I did this year, just because I have had my personal confidence shot with these shows. As every time I go, I get just super humbled by how little I know and how insignificant my business is compared to all of these people who put so much time and so much effort into their craft, into their identity, into their business. I don't feel like I should be there sometimes, because it's like I don't do half the stuff these guys do. I don't do like the freaking banners and the cute little mascots and the designs that they put for their banners that they have on the tables and the banners that they have on the top, and then the lights they have, and like their whole little storefront is just so detailed, and there's so much like just thought into their store, and it makes me like feel like, man, I am like slumming it right now. So I feel like a bum in Artist Alley sometimes. So until I get my booth to a point where I want it to be, and yes, I know people say, and it's true, you're never gonna be prepared, you just have to start. I know that, but I do not like people walking by me and like not seeing me and then walking straight towards the booth that had all that work. So I need to at least put the work in. As far as numbers go, I would like to do 6 shows, 6 good shows. I'm probably not gonna do any small shows this year because, like I said, I don't do well at small shows. I would like to say that I want to give them a shot again, but I feel like I just waste a lot of time if I go to really small shows. I feel like I do a lot better at bigger shows because you have more people, then you can make more opportunities for sales when you have a bigger show. So the only thing around Artist Alley as far as goals is I want to do a professional portfolio so that I have a higher acceptance rates into the bigger shows, so that I don't have to go to the smaller shows that I don't do well in. So because some people realistically do amazing at these small shows. It's just like I said, it's just my stuff. Like I don't know. It's 100%. I just gotta get better, bro. If I had good stuff, it would sell regardless, right? So yeah, I want to make a better portfolio so that I have a higher chance of getting into these shows, so that I may have a better likelihood of making profit. It's hard because at the end of the day, I made less than a lot of people make in a weekend. And as I sit here in front of you guys and talk about my expenses, and I'm completely vulnerable with you all, it's kind of sucky. Like thinking that, like, dude, I put so many hours into Artist Alley, and to come out with less money than most people make in 2 days, 3 days. And the grand total of 11 shows, most of those shows were 3-day events. So what's that, 30 days? That's a month, you know? So yeah, okay. So basically 10% of the time to get the same amount of money for them, I guess. 3 days versus 30. Yeah, so Artist Alley is kind of not the fun place for me at the moment. But I will be back. I have a couple shows that I have lined up next year already. I will be returning to a couple next year, giving them another shot. So we'll see how that goes. If you guys find me again on those vlogs, then I look forward to meeting you again. If you guys don't like the content that's coming up, I apologize. I don't really know what else to do because I don't know. I'm just kind of winging it at this moment, bro. Like, just trying to figure it out. So anyway, I think that's enough rambling. Those goals are good goals to have. Market, post, be consistent, make original content, build a portfolio, you know, so that it gets me into these shows better. So those are like the major things. Shouldn't be too hard. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy New Year to you all, and I hope that you're all able to reach those goals that you set for yourself and your businesses, so that you may be the person you want to be, you know? All right, till next time. Love you. Bye.